And considering how, I don't know, I'm starting to have second thoughts about this restaurant, because if they're touting themselves as a tropical themed restaurant and they don't even have tropical fruit juice, I'm starting to question this place. So my confidence in this place would be waning at this point, and I would be thinking, if they don't even have tropical juice, then I can't expect their lemonade to actually be freshly squeezed either. It's probably from a can. Again, as a foodie, this is what I think about. But I'm just gonna pick lemonade and hope for the best. Probably gonna be like Minute Maid lemonade, which I'm not knocking necessarily. There's nothing wrong with Minute Maid lemonade. It's just, if I'm going to a nice restaurant, I would kind of like something a little bit less common, more unique. Sure. Kyra placed the order for your drinks, getting a black hot coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menus, deciding what to order. The last time you came here, the dish you ordered was amazing. You wanted to order something different this time. Oh, that's so nice! That's what I do! I get that a lot of people... Again, this is the foodie in me talking. 100% get that many people go to a restaurant, and if they find the one thing they love, they just stick with that one thing and don't really, like, explore other options on the menu. And, most of the time, I don't do that. The vast majority of time, unless the menu isn't all that unique, and that one thing on the menu is the most unique thing in the menu that I haven't really fully explored, then sure, I'll stick with the most unique thing on the menu. But if it is a fairly diverse menu with a lot of interesting things in it, even if the last thing that I ordered was something I loved, I want to explore and I want to see what other things there are that I might love just as much, or close to just as much at least, or, you know, be interested in having, depending on what mood I'm in. So it's cool that the game, you know, well, I feel like it's not cool that the game automatically assumed that my character would not want to order the same thing. But let's see what I have. Kyra and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals, too, were ordered and the menus were taken away. You glanced at the table surface, wanting to figure out what to say. Cove sunk back further into his seat and avoided eye contact. He started to twiddle his thumbs while acting like this was all perfectly normal. So here's the thing. If I was being 100% honest, again, if I was being 100% honest, Cove is the kind of person that I would have no problem being friends with in real life. I'm talking about myself in real life. I'd have no problem being friends with Cove in real life. But I would not necessarily jump at the opportunity to date him, because I tend to prefer people who can match my enthusiasm a little bit, you know? I don't want them to be exactly like me. That would be frustrating and annoying. But I would love somebody who was, you know, quiet is fine. And I get that this is an awkward age for people. But even when I was in middle school, the people that I tended to like or had crushes on were people who were a little bit more outgoing, who were a little bit more, like, positive, and, you know, who had, you know, really good sense of humors, and just, you know, were just, in general, more positive people. Like, those are the people that I was romantically attracted to or had crushes on. People like Cove, like, not as much, but I was perfectly fine being friends with him. There's, like, I of course consider myself to be very extroverted, but that doesn't mean I don't like or, you know, can't hang out with quiet people. Some of my really closest friends, yeah, I mean, one of my best female friend is an introvert, and I love her to death. So it has nothing to do with that, but in terms of attraction, a lot of Cove's behavior, even at myself as a middle school, is a little unattractive to me. And so this behavior is a bit attractive, even with the issues that he has with his mom. Like, I would be more attracted to someone, like I said, who was able to set that aside and let the baggage be a thing to be dealt with in the privacy of your own home, not when you're out in public, supposedly trying to make the experience better for your guest. Because if you're not doing that, it's a bit of a turnoff for me. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Even the writers recognized that Cove is being a sourpuss. So I hope that makes me feel better that I'm not being too hard on Cove. Instead of making more open questions he'd brush off, Kyra had mercy on her son and instead put her focus towards you. Yeah, I mean, this is what would happen. If I was in that situation and I noticed my friend was just not contributing to the outing, in fact, the opposite, taking away from the outing. If my friend was taking away from the outing, I naturally would just be like, all right, fine. I mean, I'll rescue the situation and socialize with your mom instead. If you want to just kind of hang back and be a sourpuss, I mean, I can't stop you. So I'm just going to try to... If you're not going to help me have a good experience at this lunch, then I'm going to have to do it myself. I'm going to have to, pick up the pace and pieces and, make the situation better for myself if Cove's not going to. So, Vaughn, what's a few things that you're into? There's got to be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. So, this is great. There's a lot of diversity. I like to read. I like to watch. I like TV? Movies? Is that what she means? Games are fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, all the video games. I hang out with people, I go to the beach, I'm into sports, music, I spend time on art, I write things, I still spend time studying, fashion, I'm really into Cove. Well, right now I'm not, at this moment in time I'm not. But no, I'm a huge gamer. Games are fun. I like to play board games, video games, card games, and this is cool. So video games, I don't know much about them. Maybe you can show me sometime. Sure, I'll show you my YouTube channel. Didn't have a YouTube channel back when I was in middle school. YouTube didn't exist when I was in middle school. And board games. I like board games. That's great. We should all play a game together sometime. And, oh gosh, I like a lot of things. Cooking isn't on here. Eating isn't on here. I like to read. I hang out with people. I go to the beach and I'm into sports like music. I spend time on art. I write things. I still spend time studying. Fashion. I'm really into Cove. And you didn't say anything else. I like to read fiction novels, comic books, manga, magazine, non-fiction books, poetry. I'm gonna say fiction novels. Me too. Nothing beats curling up with a good book. And I hang out with people. Hey, it's nice to have friends and family to spend time with. And I don't really go to the beach. I like to watch. Oh, cool! You can pick out things. I like to watch TV. I like to watch people, TV. It's pretty addicting when you find a good series, isn't it? Movies. Kyra nodded her head, and you guessed she must like that too. Stand-up. I do like stand-up comedy, but I wasn't into that in middle school. People watching is kind of weird to me. I like plays. I love theater. That's very interesting. And I wasn't a huge music person. So here's the thing. I didn't listen to music much when I was in middle school. But I was in the band. I enjoyed playing music, and I also was in the choir. So I like performing music, but I didn't really listen to music much, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's odd to some people. I spend time on art. I did, but I wouldn't call that like one of my go-to. I like art, but that wouldn't be one of my go-to. I write things. I write more things now. Not when I was in middle school. I still spend time studying. Not in middle school. I didn't need to study in middle school, but I was studious. So maybe this is supposed to imply. I mean, I'm just gonna say I still spent time studying to imply because I was crazy studious. I just didn't need to study about until I was in high school. That was when I really needed to start studying. So I'll just say I still spent time studying. Studying in summer, I have to admit, I don't know a lot of people enjoy that, but hard work is the key to getting what you want in life. Oh, well, I guess I wouldn't do it. I wasn't studying over the summer. I wasn't that studious. I wouldn't say that. So, stand-up comedy people. And fashion wasn't really my thing in middle school. See, even now, like, I joke around that I appreciate fashion because I do appreciate fashion, but I wouldn't call that a hobby of mine by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a fashionista at all, but I do like fashion and games. And I'm really into Cove. Cove is kind of just hanging out there, not contributing to the conversation. So if he's not contributing to the conversation, I'm just gonna force him into the conversation. And I'm really into Cove. Kyra let out a sudden laugh, and Cove gasped beside you. It was a dramatic enough inhale, and he almost choked on a soda. Serves you right, Cove. This is like the playful side of me. It'd be like, serves you right, Cove. If you're not contributing to this conversation, I'm forcing you into it. You shrugged at the reaction. It was a truthful answer to the question. Yeah. Vaughn, Cove? What? What? Are you suddenly annoyed at me, Cove? Are you suddenly annoyed at me? Cove whispered at you disapprovingly, obscuring part of his face with a hand. But Kyra only waved him off and encouraged you to go on. Well, I don't know, Cove. If you contributed more to the conversation, then it probably wouldn't have gotten to that point. Your mom wouldn't have kept asking me all these questions, and that question probably would have never reached that point, We spend time together when we can. I like it. Well, we have something in common. As you should, as a mom. Kyra smiled at Cove, who didn't look too impressed by either of you for that moment. Sorry, honey. Sorry. I go fashion, still since I'm right things. And you didn't say anything else. Because I said a lot. Thanks, I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Cove leaves the details out. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask Kyra a few questions of your own. Cove hadn't told you much about her. Yeah, he doesn't say anything about the mom. So far, I think the mom's really nice. I mean, at minimum, she's really nice in public. I don't know what she's like behind closed doors, but I appreciate that she's at least nice in public. Because right now, Cove's not being so nice in public. So at the moment, I'm definitely more like interested in getting to know his mom right now and interacting with his mom at the moment. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was a big part of his life. What exactly do you work for? I am a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. What do you like to do? Where do you live normally? Are you in a new relationship? Oh, interesting. I feel like this is too forward. Like, I only just met this woman. This is not really an appropriate question to ask, although I am very curious. Why did you miss her? This is also very forward. Where do you live normally? Nevada? Have you been there? Oh, Brandon, my good buddy Brandon lives in Nevada. I love you, Brandon, if you are ever watching this. Probably not, but just so you know, I love you. You were the first person who popped into my head when it came to Nevada. You shook your head. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. Las Vegas, baby. Las Vegas. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, of course, and traveling. A real shock, huh? These are two questions that I would probably ask, but not on the first day. So I couldn't bring myself to ask another question. Yeah, these two I couldn't asked right away. It didn't seem to bother her that the conversation dropped off. Cove sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. I mean, come on, Cove. Don't be a sourpuss. You're like severely dropping the mood. Like, I'm sorry you're not having a great time, but do you really have to let it affect everybody else around you too? It's just kind of frustrating. You weren't sure if coming along had ended up making the lunch better or worse. I mean, he was the one who wanted me to come. You made a silly face at him. You smiled at him. You gave him a sympathetic look. You flicked his straw wrapper at him. You left him alone. I mean, yeah, I left him alone. I would just honestly, like, my gut reaction was just to ignore it, you know? Like, I'm just not gonna add to it, I guess. I wasn't gonna contribute towards the behavior. I'm just going to ignore the behavior. Maybe it's because of my son right now. You know, my son is 16 months old right now, and so when my son when he gets into those phases, when he gets into one of those moods, it's better for me to just ignore him, not contribute to his moodiness, to his phaseness. So I'm gonna leave him alone. You just quietly watched him until he finally noticed, and his ocean blue eyes met yours. It took a couple of moments, but finally he cracked a smile, and that made you feel lighter inside. I would love to be able to talk to him about this. Afterwards.
Very cute.
You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat.
Seriously?
Mom, why would you say that? Because it's true, Cove. You don't think we are cute together? I think we're cute together. I guess it's weird coming from your mom, but I don't know. As somebody who is a gay person, I would have loved it if my mom thought me liking another boy was cute. I would have loved that, Like, that would have been wonderful, especially at that age, for her to think that me liking somebody, was cute. So, I mean, I understand that to Cove that might be as cute, but count your blessings, man. I wish I had that aspect. I wish I had that. Count your blessings. You felt bothered too. You blush. You just laughed. Thanks, we are cute. See, here's the thing. If Cove's gonna date me, he's gonna have to, accept the fact that I am, a bit outgoing. Just like I have to accept the fact that he is, not as outgoing, but hopefully can be, hopefully can still be socially adept. I think that's the thing, is that when it comes to romantically involved, again, this has nothing to do with whether I can be friends with you. 100% nothing to do with friends. But I think that there's a difference between being introverted and being a quiet person, and then being socially, I don't like to use the word inept or socially awkward. That's not the right thing. But, hopefully that you're kind of getting what I'm saying. There's like a difference between the two. You can be introverted but still have social graces, and understand social cues, and be like, have good manners, like social manners, and still be introverted and still be quiet, so that as long as you're that, I can still be attracted to you. In fact, that tends to be very attractive, actually. It's an introverted or quiet person who still has like a charm and is still like socially adept, very, very socially adept. I find that super attractive. This, not so attractive. I'm just gonna say, thanks, we are cute. Very. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious. Even Cove enjoyed his food. Yay! At least Cove is enjoying something from this from this lunch, I'm hoping, since the main purpose of going to lunch, well, not a main purpose. I mean, socialization should be a good main purpose for going out to lunch. But the food for actual lunch, the lunch itself. I'm glad Cove at least enjoyed that.
Okay.
All right, now that we're all full and content, can you explain, please, why you've had a bug up your butt all day? Oh no! I see. I don't agree with the mom doing that, because that's just, that's something that should be happening. I feel like not in front of Vaughn. She really should be talking to him, not during this whole thing. Cove's face scrunched at that. Oof, yeah, that's. I don't agree with that. As a parent myself, I don't agree with doing that to your kid. Seriously, baby, what did mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. Yeah, this is something you should be talking to your kid privately, not in front of me. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. I don't blame him. I don't blame Cove. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. She leaned forward to not miss anything else, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, that you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? Cove's eyes began to shake and his frustration ebbed. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything. I see. Yeah, so her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. Oh, so did Clifford not tell either of them? Did Clifford tell Kyra that Cove wanted her to come or asked for her to come here? And did... Oh, okay, I see what's happening. Come on, Clifford. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same, Cove says. Well, see, there you guys can agree to something. They let out identical sighs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards.
I'm sorry.
I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. I mean, it's up to him, but I feel like, I don't know, like a change of pace. Again, this is me not having Cove's life. But I mean, it'd be a really interesting change of pace to have my mom there. But again, Cove's personality and situation is different than mine, so who am I to say? I think I do want you to say, I miss it when you're not there. My heart. Which is interesting because when you first met Cove was all about, I want to be with my mom. I want to be with my mom. He was all up on being with his mother. And now he's like, no, I don't know if I want my mom around here. And then he's like, well, no, on second thought, I do want my mom around here. Oh, middle school indecisiveness. She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wiggle away. Mom, stop. Again, this is so foreign to me. Maybe it's an Asian thing, but I just find that it's so foreign I found it very foreign for, like, kids, even at that age, to be so, like, no, don't kiss me in public. Don't show me signs of affection in public. Like, that's never been... It never would have crossed my mind for that to be anything embarrassing or for that to be anything, to about in public. I don't know what it is, like, because that's again, maybe it's like a Filipino and Asian thing, but that was never a thing with me. And even through high school and through college and my mom would kiss me or do things like that, and I liked it. Like, I liked it. It didn't bother me at all. I kissed my mom. Like, even when I was in middle school and high school and college, I would kiss my mom in public, in front of my friends, and it wasn't a big deal. So I get that it's a big deal. I guess maybe it's a Western thing. I don't know. I get that that might be a big deal for some, but this is just being embarrassed because your parents are showing you some love and affection physically. Like, I don't know. I don't get that. I just don't understand that. And as a parent myself, I'm just going to have to expect that that's probably going to happen with my kids, and it's probably going to break my heart, but I just have to, understand that it's just something that I probably will just never understand. Because I would have been on both sides of the fence and still would not have understood. I'm sorry, sweet young men need to be smooched by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kyra was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued. Do you want to talk to your dad too?
No.
Wow, like that, the conversation just took a turn. Cove had snapped the words instantly, but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later, not today.
It's alright.
I understand, we can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning away. And thank you, Vaughn. You're welcome. I just sat here awkwardly while you were having your family drama in front of me. Check, please. Check, please. Huh? What did I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's harder to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything. I don't know. Like, I feel like Cove wasn't exactly in his best behavior around me, but maybe it would have been worse if I wasn't here, I guess. Maybe that was Kyra's plan. I don't know. Especially when you really care about what said neighbor thinks of you. She winked. I use my superpowers for good. Mom? She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. I hope it was resolved. Because, more of that throughout the summer would have been really, really tiresome. Really tiresome. When the three of you left the restaurant and Kyra had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time, you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. But eventually you reached their street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family, and Vaughn, too. Cliff? Dad? Wow. The two walked past him into a condo without sparing another word, despite the summer heat and their shoulders were cold. Interesting Fabio cut, Cliff. Interesting Fabio Cliff. I feel like I preferred him in his previous hairstyle, but, whatever floats your boat, man. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, I'm in trouble. He rubbed the back of his neck with a crooked smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? You gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back far more energetically. Yes and no. Cove has a lot of similarities with Mom, but he also has a lot of differences from his mom. Okay, have a nice night, Vaughn. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagined it would have, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having Kyra in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families, and a dull moment was rarely had. Oh, interesting. Now we got all these different moments. Wave, growing, family. Dinner, road trip, soiree, escapade, summer work, birthday, the mall. Oh, let's hit up the birthday. I want to do my birthday DLC first. Oh, this is so cool. It was a pleasant afternoon. The sun shone brightly, and the breeze tugged lightly at the balloon strung around the park. You and Cove had just dropped off at Miranda Eckert's birthday party. You didn't really know Miranda. Last year was the first time you had a class with her, and everyone at school knew her as quiet. The shy girl stuck to her own friend group like glue. It had been a surprise that she was having such a big party.